Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee, and we're going to get right to it with regards to this impending nor'easter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free, so you can keep up to date. I'll be putting up videos probably again later today and on Monday. So you'll get a notification instantly as soon as that happens. The subscription is free. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps me out with Google, so I really would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so let's go over what's up with regards to all sorts of warnings. We've got high wind warnings up and down the New Jersey coast for the inland, for Long Island, for New York City, into the northeastern counties of New Jersey, and also southern Westchester County, and then straddling along coastal Connecticut. I just wanted to extend this down a little further south to see if there's anything going on south of Cape May, and there isn't. We also have storm warnings in effect for the coastal waters. We have hurricane force wind warnings up for the south shore of Long Island out into the coastal waters, which makes total sense that there could certainly be gusts every bit of 60 to 70 miles, 65 to 75 knots. I would not at all be surprised if the models are showing this and have been for the last couple of days. And we also have coastal flood watches up for the New Jersey county surrounding New York Harbor. We also have them up for Long Island, both North and South Shore, for the shores of for New York City, on the Long Island Sound side of the Bronx, southern Westchester, and up into coastal Connecticut. So, this is going to be a moderately strong nor'easter. I think I'm probably going to start leaning on the idea of it being on the strong side. The one mitigating factor against with regards to that is the coastal flooding side of the equation. At least that looks to be relatively subdued, and I say relatively because it's still going to be moderate coastal flooding up and down from Delaware Bay to Long Island, with maybe a few pockets where the coastal flooding is a little bit more than just moderate. So the red area indicates 2 to 3 feet above normal at the high tide tomorrow evening, and the dark red is 3 to 4 feet for the New Jersey shore, New York Harbor, and for Long Island Sound, for western Long Island Sound. I think you can extend that to the south shore of Long Island as well. The fact that we are in between the full moon and the new moon is a mitigating factor through all of this. Now, there are some developments that I want to go through, and let me just explain how this is all going to play out. First off, we have this lead system, and we were talking about this earlier this week about how this lead system going out could possibly cause some cold air to drain down from this big high that's building to the north. And I think that's actually going to happen. The NAM model in particular is showing this, and you have this big high up to the north. Here is the low that's going to be the main storm. This is also tracking a little bit further to the south, and here you have that lead system off the New Jersey coast with a little bit of rain coming in for late this afternoon and this evening. Now, this is going to basically weaken as it moves slowly to the east and this main low begins to take over. But what that does is that it forces cold air to drain southward. Now, we're talking about a minimal amount of cold air here. When I examine the levels in the atmosphere, we're down in areas in northern New Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern New York, and interior Connecticut. We're talking, barely borderline, but we're also talking very strong dynamics with this system that are going to get involved, and there could be all sorts of weird things that happen with respect to dynamic cooling in the atmosphere. Well, basically, the intensity, just to simplify it, is the intensity of the precip and the developing precip, where we have the atmosphere cooling from the top down. And one of the things that kind of pops into my head here is that when you get these odd wet snowstorm events that occur in the middle of the fall, something like October of 2011, I think I got the date right, late October 2011, where there was a heavy wet snowstorm that came out of something that was such an absolute borderline situation for parts of the Hudson Valley, and particularly in interior Connecticut, where there was some wholesale damage and power lines that were down for a long time. I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying it kind of reminds me of where something like that could happen. But let's look at what the NAM does here today. And one of the things it does with the main surface low tracking further south, and you get this arm of moisture. Someone tried to tell me yesterday that this was not a nor'easter. I mean, seriously, this is a nor'easter. And also telling me, and I don't know what the name of what they were looking at, but that the low was cutting inland and west. Really, if you're watching this video, could you please explain it to me, because I'm still kind of mind boggled by how you came to that conclusion. Okay, so here's our low for late tomorrow afternoon, and you can see on the northern fringe that you do have sleet and wet snow, and there's pretty intense precip in terms of rain that is lifting up to the north. I think the NAM has the best idea with respect to the rainfall amounts being on the order of at least a couple of inches, and all of this moves on through. So what you can expect is that for deteriorating weather conditions during the early morning hours across New Jersey from south to north, spreading toward New York City tomorrow morning. We're going to get into gale force winds. The heaviest rains will probably come in during the late morning and then continue into tomorrow evening. And you can see what happens to the north and west with the snow. And then gradually that low starts to lift up northeastward along the coast. And we're still getting into some rain here through the day on Wednesday before we finally see some genuine weather improvement here on Wednesday. So we're going to I'm going to get a little tighter here so we can look at the wind field and what you can expect with respect to winds. And by the way, I do, of course, I get questions about, what should I do, evacuate, not evacuate, et cetera, et cetera. You know what? I can't make those decisions for you. You live in your own area, you know where you are, and we're all adults. I think you need to evaluate if you're on the South Shore. And I only bring this up because a couple of people have asked me, and, I wind up getting into conversations where we're basically talking in circles. If you think you need to go somewhere else because you'll feel more comfortable, then go ahead. From a coastal flooding standpoint, it's a 2 to 4 feet, moderate coastal flooding. Some pockets will get it worse. I think wind is going to be a bigger issue. So if wind, if that causes power outages and that's a problem for you for where you are, then you need to evaluate that. But you don't need to be asking a weather person to make that decision for you. Okay, so here you have the wind situation here for this nor'easter during the day on Monday, and the NAM model. The gales actually start developing along the coast during the evening hours, where you start to see the green and the yellows expanding, and then you get into those oranges and reds, which we have during the day on Monday. Looks like today's NAM model maybe is slightly less with respect to the wind. I mean, it's still probably every bit of 30 to 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40 knots sustained, or even 40 to 50 knots sustained offshore and over eastern Long Island. I think eastern part of Long Island will probably experience the worst with respect to the wind in terms of sustained winds of let's say 35 to 45 knots and gusts up to 60 or 65 knots. They're going to be commonplace along the coast here. And then the wind moves out, and that low just tracks right up and then moves out away to the northeast. In terms of total rainfall, let's go to the accumulated precip map, and you can see it's substantial. The white area is 2 inches plus, covering all of New Jersey, most of Long Island, into this Hudson Valley. The purple areas, as you go up, we're looking at rainfall amounts of 3-4 inches on the NAM model. I'm going to look at the GFS model let's see how much of the GFS we actually have, because I think that'll be interesting to see as a comparison. We only have through 36 hours on the GFS, so it really isn't enough. And this is through tomorrow evening. And actually, through the GFS tomorrow evening, it has, about half as much as what the NAM has across New Jersey. So I want to take a look at what it does here at the surface as we get a clue with this. Okay, so, one of the things I can pick up on, at least through 36 hours, that it is colder from the standpoint of snow, now showing, some snow in the northwestern part of New Jersey. It kind of showed it for the first time yesterday, so it looks like it's expanding on that idea. I'm going to get on a wider view to get a better picture of this. So let's take a look at that. One of the things that this is starting to look more like, it's got that colder look to it. And you can see this high is pressing down to the north. So, I want to be a little, I want to start to be a little bit cautious on the notion that somebody on the northern fringe of this could wind up with some, some snow and maybe even some significant snow. Yeah, it's a shake my head kind of situation. But, so far, at least the GFS, let me go back. We'll go back 6 hours and take a look. Yeah, so you can see, and then I'll go back to the overnight run. So, it's pretty consistent with the last 3 runs in terms of the snowfall. I think it's probably a little bit colder with regards to the look. So the bottom line is, folks, that we're going to get, we're going to have a very interesting 12 to 18 hours to get through. So we'll keep you posted. I got some snowfall maps up there that I put. I came up with something. I'm not sure what my confidence level is on it. You know what? I can actually show it to you what I did. Okay, here's our snowfall forecast map. What I'm covering for is that there could be an elevation driven up, a coating to a couple of inches across northern New Jersey into the Hudson Valley, going up toward and north of Route 84. And as you get further north and west, I raise the amounts up a little bit, 2 to 3, 4 inches or more. You can see how it is laid out here on the map. But I want you to read what I wrote here. Absolutely no confidence at all, both on the up and the downside. And the models are trending colder. So I'm thinking that, maybe I'm going to have to adjust upside. I'm going to tell you, for the coast, I put some wet snow or sleet mixing in, not amounting to much of anything. If we wind up with some accumulating snow here on the coast, then I'm going to tell you right now that some of these inland areas are going to have quite a heavy snow sleet situation to deal with. Okay, so let's leave it at that. I will keep you abreast of the developments as we go through the day. Latest posts on the website, meteorologistjoechaffee.com, weatherlongisland.com for Long Island specific, nycweathernow.com, where Angry Ben, and we call him Angry Ben, Ben Scott, will keep you abreast of all the developing situations in New York City. And you can download my app and subscribe to my forecast. The app download is free, and the forecast subscription is just $1 a month for New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, Hudson Valley, and Eastern Pennsylvania. So everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. And again, pay attention to the watches and warnings that are up by the National Weather Service, and we will keep our eyes on the models and let you know with updates later on today.